boy. Yes. This is Sherlock with me. Last night we celebrated Sherlock's 2nd birthday. Sherlock, you are this many years old now.
2.
And if you follow this channel, you've probably seen a lot of things about Sherlock as he grew up from birth and has stayed with us. And you might be aware of the fact that as much joy as he has brought into our lives and continues to, there have been some heartaches along the way. Just to refresh your memory, if you haven't seen this year's Easter egg hunt video, here's a little instant replay of Sherlock's sterling performance in that contest.
Good job, Sherlock. Good job. Oh, gosh. No, give that back. Sherlock, come back with that egg. No, come back. Sherlock, come back. Sherlock, give me that. Give me that egg.
Well, Sherlock found one, but he won't give it up. Oh, no. We have a runaway egg eater. Whoa, a perfect jump. Let's see that in slow motion. Look at this form without breaking stride. Big height, beautiful landing.
Sherlock. 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 Choke on it.
Yeah, don't try to swallow it whole, please. As you can see, Sherlock broke the golden rule of egg hunting, did not trade in his found egg for a treat. But that kind of made it fun. Eventually we got the egg from him, he got a treat, and on last night's birthday dinner, he got the remains of that egg. I thought I would put all of our experiences with Sherlock and the challenges we had to face and that he had to face into this video summary. And I want to start with before his birth. As is our custom, we went to the vet, a reproduction veterinarian, and we had an x-ray done just a few days before his due date. And so we knew there were 3 puppies in the womb. The tentative names for the puppies in that litter were Sherlock,
That's me.
just you, Watson, and Moriarty. I thought that was pretty clever. Unfortunately, Moriarty was stillborn. That is something that happens, and there's generally nothing that you can really do about it. So we had Sherlock and Watson. Everything went well for a couple of days, and then we discovered that Apple's milk, as quickly as it came in, dried up just as quickly. And so with Apple not lactating, the puppies needed to nurse, and they couldn't. And for several weeks, I would feed them by hand about every 3 hours around the clock, which meant getting up out of bed in the middle of the night. We started with tube feeding, that progressed to feeding with a syringe, and here you see Sherlock feeding on a bottle. Well, one of the dangers of hand feeding and bottle feeding is the possibility that puppy could aspirate the formula, meaning that they breathe it in, gets into the lungs, creates a danger of aspiration pneumonia. Unfortunately, Watson developed aspiration pneumonia. We made a heroic effort bringing him to an emergency veterinary clinic that we know quite well, and they had him on antibiotics and oxygen, and unfortunately he did not pull through. So now we were left with just Sherlock. Well, all went well for a little while, and then we noticed that Sherlock on one side had a condition known as swimmer's syndrome, where the front legs, instead of being straight out in front, were splayed out to the side. He only had it on the right side, not both sides, but it does require some therapy in order to make sure that the legs develop properly, also giving the rib cage room to develop. And so we did several things for Sherlock to make sure that he developed properly. We attached a hobble onto his front legs, which essentially keeps him from spreading them too far apart, and had him exercise, walking with the hobble on. I also built a chute for Sherlock The idea of the chute is that it's built to be just barely wider than the width of his body. I would lure him with some food, and he would walk along, not able to push his right leg out as it has been, and it was working quite well. In fact, with all these measures, he turned out to be just a perfectly fine, sound adult. So hurdle number 2 was cleared when he finally came around and everything grew in properly. But after a while, we faced hurdle number 3. I thought Sherlock had the potential to possibly be a dog we could show and maybe use as a stud dog at some point. He has some very good genetic background in him, and he's got a lot of attributes. He may not be a perfect Cavalier, but there's no perfect Cavalier. Oh, speaking of perfect Cavaliers, how's Chicken Nugget doing? But we noticed as Sherlock got older, his testicles, which normally would descend, did not descend. That not only made him ineligible for showing, but it also causes an increased risk of cancer. And we could not leave that as it is. And so we're going to overcome hurdle number 3 next week when he will go to the vet and he will be neutered, which requires an incision or 2 in his abdomen in order to remove them. And as if all that wasn't enough, we faced hurdle number 4, which was basically a cosmetic issue, but an important cosmetic issue. Cavaliers are known for their long, flowing ears that frame the face. You'll notice Sherlock does not have that. He is an ear chewer. We've tried every measure we know to get him to stop chewing his ears, and he still does it. So we're just going to love him, even if everybody thinks he looks like little Lord Fauntleroy. So you can see why we often say that breeding is not for the faint of heart. We do have to face all of these trials and tribulations, but they are outweighed by the immense rewards that we get when we produce a creature who is a companion for life. I have to look at all the happy times that Sherlock has brought to us and will continue to bring to us. So there's a moral to Sherlock's story. Is it worth going through all those difficulties in order to preserve the life of a puppy? You bet. Because as much heartache as we faced having to get him through the obstacles that were put in front of him, there's like 100 times more joy that he brings into our lives. After all that, I am so closely attached to this little guy. He's going to be with me for the rest of our lives. Sherlock, I love you.